Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble. Acta non verba is the motto of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I had appointments to Naval Academy and Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. And Merchant Marine Academy's motto was acta non verba. In other words, don't listen to what a person says. Watch what they do. Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrive Time, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. So I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrive Time it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrive Time Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
Love this spot we do on Fridays when it's available because it checks a lot of boxes.
It does.
Number one, it inspires a lot of people to like, oh, I could start dominating at the company I work in and then maybe eventually own my own and move out from here. I like it because you learn a lot, so you're inspired, you learn a lot. And I also love it because when we have on today's guest, usually irritates some people, and we'll get something in the comments. And I love that too. Actually, I love that more than anything because if you're not kind of irritating people a little bit, then what are you even doing?
Yeah.
You're probably not moving the needle. He's the author of more books than most people have read. Most current one, I think, most applicable to our audience because we want to make America great. Can't make America great unless Americans do great, crush their day.
Yep.
This book's called How to Build a Successful Business. And I think it applies to everybody listening. Hang on. If you're not careful, you might learn something. Grab some notes. Listen to Mr. Clay Clark.
Yeah!
Greetings from Tulsa, Jerusalem. By the way, Eric Trump came to our last business workshop, September 25, 26. It was packed. We had, I would say, many members of the flyover community were in the house having a great time. And we are taking the upcoming business conference December 4th and 5th, the month of Christmas, to Anaheim, California. And Dave and Stacy, I'm going to drag you up on that stage so you can encourage the attendees. We've got Dr. Stella Stella coming. Julie Green's going to be there. Amanda Grace will be in the place. Eric Trump is doing a 90-minute Q&A session. Mel K. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you might say, who are those people on the flyers? I don't know those people. We have one couple. They have 7 kids. They have a successful real estate business, a successful insurance company, a successful ranch. I told them, I said, come on, come out to California, share your story. Randy Antrican's going to be in the house. This guy's grown from a guy doing pergolas and hot tubs now to a $17 million a year thriving company. It is going to be awesome. So unless you hate your wallet, if you want to grow a business, start a business, go on to thrivetimeshow.com and use that promo code FLYOVER to get yourself a chance to win a backstage pass. You get discounts off of VIP tickets. And we only have attendance for 700 people there. So we can't fit thousands and thousands. Only 700 people are going to be there. It is going to be a lot of fun. That's December 4th and 5th out there in Anaheim, California, Dave.
And you chose a great time to have it, Clay, because think about the people in the flyover states in December, what's happening. It is cold. Could be possibly snowing in your area, but you go to Anaheim, it's going to be beautiful. What a great time of year to be in California.
Palm trees. I still know where else also you get that mix of people. Like, okay, you have Eric Trump. Yep. You got Mel K doing deep dives, on the World Economic Forum and everything happening there. Michael Levine, the advisor, PR, guy. This interesting mix of people.
Oh, you got the prophets.
Dr. Stella Emanuel. Amanda Grace. I don't know where we fit in.
I don't either.
Because we kind of have a foot in all those boats, a little bit in business and ministry and missions work.
You're kind of the hub to a lot of the
boats.
Yeah, we can kind of
Colton, I got to ask you this.
Okay. I'm ready.
I ask you this, Colton. Your dad is a great teacher. I'm going to ask you this. Maybe I'm making it awkward, but here we go. As a kid, did you learn best by your dad yelling at you, or encouragement, or how did you learn best? Did you learn best when you're being yelled at or encouraged, or what was the way you learned best from your dad?
He didn't yell very often, so I would say that was like if you were yelled at, it locked in whatever he was teaching because it didn't happen very often. Like that was a very emotional thing. But I would say a lot of times he slips things in through humor and repetition. Mm-hmm. So I would say he breaks down the ice walls, kind of brings things in because he can make you laugh really well, and then he repeats them over and over and over again. And I hear myself. I have 3 kids now. I hear myself saying the phrases he told me all the time growing up, and I'm like, if you can't control yourself, somebody else is going to have to. If you can't control, your hands, somebody else is going to have to control your hands. As an adult, if you can't control your speed, the police are going to control your speed. Yeah. I hear these phrases coming out all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was my dad, because he would use his humor. Like I would laugh really hard, and then I'd be like, oh wow, that's a really good point, And so he's that. I would say the humor and repetition, just jab, 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 hook, jab, 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 hook. That was his training philosophy.
I just wanted to mention this because Michael Levine, who's going to be there. You mentioned Michael. He was the PR consultant of choice for Nike and Prince. Mm-hmm. He still represents the Michael Jackson estate, by the way, for Prince and Nike and Pizza Hut and all this. And I read his book, and Dave, I remember calling him, and I said, Michael, I want you to teach me PR. I was so excited I got a hold of him on the phone, and he goes, I don't want to teach you. He talks like that. I don't want to teach you PR. And I'm like, okay, can I hire you? He's like, for $25,000, you can have 3 hours of my time. And I remember going, $25,000 for 3 hours? Yes, I'm in. And so I paid him, and he is a tough love guy. And so he grew up dyslexic. He's still dyslexic. He grew up poor. His father was an alcoholic. And so, Dave, if you need some tough love, he gives you the tough love. He's a tough love kind of guy. I think I'm kind of more the funny encourager guy.
Yep.
Everybody's got different ways they learn, but I'm telling you, Dave, it's going to be awesome. And Michael Levine, he's the world's top PR guy. He's represented the biggest artists, musicians, actors, actresses, authors in the world, and he's going to be there too. So it could not be a bigger lineup there, Dave.
And we don't have to pay $25,000 to be able to hear him, which is pretty incredible.
$250 as a percentage.
$250 or whatever you can afford, which is absolutely amazing.
And Michael Levine did say $25,000 or whatever you can afford.
No, he didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that one. And I will say too, this one might be a really good one to get the VIP tickets for, to have that time. I mean, I don't know how often people in general can get time with Eric Trump or with some of these people, but to get a VIP ticket where you get some of those meal times, you get the photo time, but you get to say something. I think that might be a really valuable one for some people. Not for everybody, but the VIP ticket would be probably a very valuable one of this one.
I will say we had one couple at the last one, kind of a funny story. They asked me, they said, is it okay if we shadow you? And I go, yeah, you want to shadow me? It's like, at the event, like when I'm getting here 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, you want to shadow, and so they shadowed a lot, they were very, very involved behind the scenes. And they told me they learned so much by seeing behind the scenes, how we set up the event, how the team gets going. And so they learned a lot there. So when you buy a VIP, we do give you an all access pass to really experience the whole thing. And Dave, I know at the limited time we have today, I wanted to sneak in 5 knowledge bombs that can change everybody's life. And it's all from a book called Think and Grow Rich that I named my son after. Breed Napoleon Hill Clark. I grew up without money. I read that book and I went the other way. I mean, it changed. It was like an exit ramp. It was going this way and then, And so the big idea is life is not a dress rehearsal. That's the big idea. You got to go for it, So people will come into my life. I see young people. This happens all the time. And, people like Andrew. You guys know Andrew. I remember Andrew. I said, Andrew, I'm for you to become a full-time consultant. And Andrew had faithfully worked for us for several years. And he goes, so today? And I go, today. And within a 60-day window of time, he went from the photographer, video guy to full-time consulting. And I think people are sometimes alarmed on the outside with how quickly I promote people. But once I see that somebody has the emotional capacity to do something and they're diligent and they're consistent, we'll do things that people might have been studying business growth for 10 years, and we're going to teach it to them in like 4 weeks. And so I want to encourage everybody, if you're watching today's show, we have a little video clip I want to play. There was a listener who he came to our event, and he said to me, Clay, I've got this business. I'm in the pest control space. I've been doing it for over 10 years. And without getting too detailed, he needed a change. And he thought, I could make some incremental changes and do some things, and maybe I could make it through the year and maybe make it to a safe place. Maybe I could survive this year and then get to a place. And he's been able to double the size of his company. What? In under 120 days. Wow. And he came to the conference, and I just brought him up as a Q&A guy. And I said, hey, how much have you gone up in the last 90 days since you became a client? He goes, I've doubled my leads. And I'm going, what? Because this is a very measurable, this is a guy, he's in the pest control space, Dave. He has 300 competitors that he competes with in San Diego, California, most of which are, the big ones are funded by private equity. So he's competing against billion-dollar companies on a shoestring budget. This is like David versus Goliath, and he's just knocking them all out. He's slaying giants. He's doing it, and I think everybody will be fired up to hear this man by the name of Sean, his story.
So we've almost doubled. We went from 50 leads to 85 leads on average a week that we're seeing. But I'll tell you what, mentioning that the branding and the website, I like that you pulled up at the beginning, Clay, our first suncoastpestmanagement.com and then the ca.com, because that was our first website, and there was no traffic. Things weren't happening. And we left that up while we transitioned over to the Thrive Time team and the website. And it's been unbelievable, the amount of traffic that we're seeing and the difference between the two that we're going live. So now we're taking that website down this month and pointing that website to our new website. But what we're finding is it's a VISM. I know if anyone doesn't know what the VISM is, it's the video images, search engine optimization, and then the more reviews. What we focus on is the video testimonies, the images, and the reviews. We let you guys take care of the search engine stuff, but seeing the difference in the websites, we know it's working. We know the pages and the content on the back end's working. You got to take the step. You got to step out there and experience it for yourself. That 1,700's nothing. I mean, that's a no-brainer deal, to be honest with you, Clay. I mean, the 1,700 that we pay from the coaching that I've got, the system implementation, things that work, from group interviewing and getting the right people on our team. You can't put a price on it. You just really can't. I know what we paid for our website before. We're paying less now than what we were paying before, and we're getting better results now. So it really is just a no-brainer for anyone that's really
success stories that we produced there, Dave.
That is awesome.
Just one example.
I love how almost like giddy excited he is. Like that to me, watching someone go from a swing like that, where it's like, man, we have got to, like, we're moving money from robbing Peter to pay Paul, and we're taking out of the tax account to get this. Like, when you start getting into that kind of a funky spot to then swinging around, and it's like, man, I can't believe how good it's going. Like it is fun to watch that, and
so
everyone is watching that. If you own a business, like Clay was saying there, 96% of businesses fail, not usually because of a lack of desire, but because of a lack of education of what to do next, how to get it done, where do leads come from. Most people start a business because they really love an activity. They love making something, they love doing something, they love, or they work for somebody like, I can do this myself. And they start their business and they don't know all the other pieces that it takes to actually bring that stuff in. And Clay is a master at it, no matter what.
We're kind of taught in our systems in America that, okay, if you're going to become a professional athlete, I mean, first of all, you got to be incredibly gifted physically, and then a lot of other things have to go right, along the way. You could get hurt at any moment, in that process. The odds of being even the top recruited high school football player in the country and then becoming a first-round draft pick or even a draft pick at all or making it for one day in the NFL, it's like it's 1 in a million, those kind of odds. But in business, it's not about luck or how tall you are or good looking or smart or how it's not like American Idol or
it's an equal playing field.
It is a path and a process.
It's not about age either. That's one of the things I try to instill with our teammates. There was a wild day before I met you guys. A lot of our teammates, a lot of my consultants that were working here, mid 30s. Early 40s, early 50s. And so you came to the office and you're like, wow, that person's doing consulting. Wow, she's early 50s. It's probably because whatever. That guy's a consultant. He's early 40s. He probably. And I tell people, who are 22, 23, 25, 35, whatever. It's not about age. It's not about background. It's about locking in and learning the proven system. So the 5 notable quotables are the 5 big ideas I want to teach on today's show. Notable quotable number 1, Napoleon Hill, and I'm going to read this to you. He says, a long while ago, a great warrior had to make a decision which ensured his success on the battlefield. He was about to send his armies against the powerful foe whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into the boats. Love this story. Sailed to the enemy's country, unloaded the soldiers and the equipment, then gave the order to burn the ships that had carried them. Addressing his men before the battle, he said, you see the boats going up in smoke? That means that we cannot leave these shores alive unless we win. Now we have no choice. We win or we perish. And they won. All I'm saying is if you're watching this right now, these are things I do that are probably not healthy. I'm never going to see a therapist. I'm never going to talk to some mental health professional, but this is what I do. This is what Dave, this is stuff I do. This is stuff my kids go, Dad, what are you doing? I have little rules. Like in my office today, I won't eat anything until I achieve my goal. So like today, I'm not kidding. I will not eat a single thing today until I get the flyers and certain things done because it's a distraction. And for me, it's a little game in my mind. I'm not going to eat anything. And you say, well, how long? What if it doesn't get done today? Well, there's been times like for the Reawaken in Tulsa, you guys were there. I had gone, I think, like 8 consecutive days without eating anything because I was so focused on stuff that had to get done, and I just will lock on. So I'm just saying, if you're watching this program right now, how committed are you to your goal? I mean, I grew up poor, and I just know that's not awesome. It is not awesome when mom and dad are kind of having arguments about money, and it's just not a good place to be. And, I want to get you to a place of success. My dad was delivering pizzas at Domino's. He was working at Quick Trip, the gas station, and I appreciate him for doing that. But again, if you want to become successful, find a way to get to Anaheim December 4th and 5th. Find a way. Step number 2, notable quote number 2, coming in hot from Napoleon Hill. He says, the starting point of all achievement is desire.
Yep.
Keep this constantly in your mind. Weak desire brings weak results, just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat. And I find so many people, they're just not excited about success. They're just not. And one way to get excited about it is to find a way to work for somebody who is successful or go to a conference where you're around successful people. And I remember, Dave, I'm reading Michael Levine's book, this Guerrilla PR book, best-selling book. It's a blue-covered book about PR, and I am going to reach that man. I'm going to get him. I'm going to reach him. I'm going to interview him. I'm going to have him on my show. We're going to become friends. It's going to happen. And now we are friends, and he has been on my show. But I hunted that guy down, and it was a thing where I committed to it because I knew that I knew nothing about public relations. I knew nothing about getting my company in the news. I didn't know how to make a good logo. I didn't know the importance of no-brainer ads. There was a lot of things that I'll teach at the conference that I learned from Michael, but I had this locked-on focus. And Dave, when you guys started this podcast, I remember talking to you and your wife. You had already started it. You and your wife and your kids had already started. But you had said, we are going to do whatever we can do to help Donald J. Trump get back in that White House.
Yep.
We're going to do everything we possibly can do to wake people up and to speak up. And you were, it wasn't a suggestion, Dave. You weren't saying, I think we might start a podcast that'll do well, and we'll put out a few shows and see if it does well. You locked on, and I want to get your thoughts and your wisdom on that, Dave. What do you say to somebody out there that's saying, well, I might start a successful car wash. We'll see. I might become a business consultant in the near term. We'll see. I might sell the thing. We'll see. What do you say to someone who says, I might become successful?
I think a lot of people, they kind of look in their bag. I'll think about the boy with the fish and the loaves, that brought him to Jesus and he fed, the 5,000. They look in their bag and say, I don't have enough to do this. And so they don't do anything. And what people are usually shocked by is if you do give everything you have, it tends to become enough. There's most people that sit at that kind of threshold of like, oh, I think I'm going to begin this, or I think I'm going to try and lose weight, or I think I'm going to try and accomplish this goal, or start a business, or ask this girl out, or whatever. Like, they have a thing in their mind, but they don't take any action because when they look in their bag, it's not enough. And there's this combination of faith, of knowing that what I have, if I do give everything I have, maybe it's just a couple fish and a couple pieces of bread. If I do give it,
right,
and I can't, then it becomes enough. And it's that little threshold of like, I'm going to give everything, but then they don't. So if you have that faith, I'm going to take everything I have and give it. Give it to my business. I'm going to give it to my marriage. I'm going to give it to parenting. I'm going to give it to my, whatever that goal that's uniquely in you. If it's there. Not everybody has the same goal. Not everybody sees the same thing and it angers them and they want to fix it. Not everybody wants to try and get Trump elected. Not everybody wants to, stand up for, pro-life. Not everybody wants to start a company. Everybody wants to break a generational poverty. But if it's in you, it's in there for a reason. That's a gift. And then you look at the bag and say, what do I have to give? And if you give it all, it always works out. The other thing Napoleon Hill says is a man that's willing to bet everything on a single roll of the dice rarely fails. And there's something about that of like, this has to work. And then you're partnering with the unseen. You're partnering with God to create something that came into you as a vision from him. That's the first gift, is that idea, because everybody has the same idea. But if you're willing to give everything in your bag, your fish and your loaves, it becomes enough if you're willing to give everything.
I'll say this too, for anybody listening to this show: if you work at a business, be the first one to work. It's a profound idea, because when I worked at tax and accounting software, I remember there was like 500 employees. I'm going, I am going to be the first one to work. So at first you start to think, who gets there first? You start to. So I'm getting there early. Well, pretty soon I'm coming in at the same time as the head of the company. I mean, this company, by the way, this technology was later sold and became what is now called TurboTax.
Wow.
And I just remember my completely naive 19-year-old self. I literally am there before my boss, waiting on my boss outside of the front door, because I don't have keys. So I'm just waiting to hear. And every morning I'm seeing this guy, and he's going, "What's your name?" "Clay." "Good morning." I'm like, "Good morning." Next day, "Clay?" "Yeah, good morning." Pretty soon, I'm not kidding, I'm 19 years old. My wife and I got married at age 20. I told my wife, I said, listen, I got promoted because they sold the company and they sold it to TurboTax and they were laying people off. And I'm like, in the transition, they've put me in charge of like this floor of people. Like, I'm in charge of like 50 people and I'm like 20. And I'm going, this is awesome. And all it was is I'm the first one to work. Yeah. I'm the last one to leave. And it's not like a cult thing. If you do that, you stand out. You just commit to that concept of over delivering. It's a basic move that we can all do. And you look at point number 3 here. Point
Clay, can I make a comment on that? On the get to work early? It's a game with Stacy and I. But every time you're watching a TV show, a program, a movie, I'm telling you, this is intentional to keep the American people broke, because you will never, and I say never, you will never see the lead character that's the head of a company. They always show up. They're walking in the building. "Hey, Janice. Hey, Carl. How you doing?" And they work back to,
they're the last ones to show up.
Larry's already waiting in your office. The main character is always there when everything is already cranking. Always. Not sometimes. Right. Always. And that seed's planted of like, I guess that's because that's the hero. That's the main character. And that's who people kind of see themselves in the show. It's who you're pulling for. they're always the last one there, 100% of the time. And I believe that is there to plant a seed, kind of like our school system is designed to create factory workers, not entrepreneurs or thinkers, or critical thinkers at least. 100% of the people you see on TV are going to be the last one to work. And that is designed to keep people broke.
It's what you said is so profound. People should watch it twice. It's those kind of observations. Again, when you're around other entrepreneurs, you're going to pick up these things. I never thought about that before, and that's 100% correct. Point number three, I want to communicate. Napoleon Hill says, you are the master of your destiny. You can achieve, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be.
Huge.
I remember reading this idea, and I was in my parents' basement, okay? I remember getting these ideas, and my mom and dad, I'll never forget, they came downstairs, and they were like, what is happening? And I turned my parents' basement into my office that you see today. I had literally replaced any mediocre, anything that wasn't. I put up posters of people that in my mind were super successful at the time. So it's like Carl Malone's on the wall. There he is. I've got Steve Jobs on the wall. I got this. I went to basically a pawn shop, and I got myself this old pool table, and I put that out there. I put up lights there. I had awesome speakers, and all of a sudden, my basement became the home of what would go on to become DJConnection.com. It was a really cool place to be, and my parents are like, "What is happening down here?" I said, "I'm changing my environment. And I'm not kidding. I was writing notable quotables on the walls in my house, and my parents are like, give a mark, but I was dialed in to changing my environment. I was still in a particular financial situation, but I decided to escape the wage cage in my mind mentally. Step number 4, Napoleon Hill says, before success comes in any man's life, he is sure to meet with much temporary defeat and some failure. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and most logical thing to do is quit. That is exactly what the majority of men do. More than 500 of the most successful men this country has ever known told the author their greatest achievement came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. And I'll tell you this, if you start getting to work before everybody else, what's going to happen is certain people will be like, what is going on with that?
Yeah.
Like they'll start to ask the question. And if you always dress to impress, people will start to go, what is going on with that? And then pretty soon, it's like the sea will part, and you'll start noticing that different opportunities come your way. Yep. And you'll start noticing people in your office treat you differently. Now, take the same mindset to being self-employed. When you're self-employed and you say, I understand defeat is a prerequisite to success, and I'm just going to obsessively follow this path. You're going to be like that guy, Sean, from the pest control company. I remember he and I had a great conversation this weekend. He said, Clay, it works. I'm losing some of my reviews aren't sticking on Google. Some of my video reviews don't turn out great, but I'm doing it. I'm doing video reviews, images, search engine, more Google reviews. I'm doing the group interview, not quite understanding why you want me to interview every job candidate at the same time every week, not even knowing why I'm interviewing if I'm not hiring. And then I found the perfect person, and there that person was. And I hired him not knowing how I could do it. And then I found through call recording, which I didn't understand why we were doing it, I found a teammate that wasn't following the systems. And so I replaced them with someone who is. And now our sales conversion has gone up, and I'm just following it. And there's a certain momentum to it. And so everybody out there, just understand, once you activate, you're going to run into some pushback, some rejection. You're going to have some, coworkers are not going to do well with you being the first one to work. They're going to be like, well, who do you think you are? People are going to, it's a thing. I'm just telling you, though, if you embrace these principles, and finally, for sake of time, principle number 5, Jim Rohn, my favorite, Dave, your favorite, Colton, perhaps your favorite, Stacy, perhaps your favorite, Jim Rohn, and Colton, I want to get your thoughts on this. He says, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I mean this sincerely. I was dating girls in college, like a lot of young guys were dating girls. And I remember I'm dating this girl, and I thought things were going well. It was okay. But then I noticed the low energy thing.
Yeah, huge.
And I'm going, what? And I'm like, unless we're like around other people, the energy level's weird here. It's like, if we're around a group of people, they're like a fake energy, like, hi, how you doing? But if it's just like one-on-one, it's a weird, like if we're going to Brahms or we're going to go pump gas, it's like this weird, somber, introspective Bob Dylan kind of energy. But if we're around people, like a live wire, and I'm like, I don't want my life to be a personal dystopian hell of mediocrity and low energy. I can't have that in my life. because I know I will become the average of the 5 people I spend the most time with. And that's why as an adult, I choose not to spend time with people unless they choose to have the mindset like you guys have. And so, Colton, you were raised in this environment where your mom and dad have read these books. Your dad's listening to Jim Rohn all the time while you're driving around. Can you talk to me now that you're an adult? You have kids, you got a great wife, great family. How intentional are you right now about choosing the 5 people you spend the most time with?
Oh man, it's huge. Well, first off, I mean, we obviously work together. We've kind of melded our lives, and like this, these are the guys that I go on vacation with, but also the guys that I work with, but also the guys that watch my kids when I go on a date night. You know, like this is our tribe, and so it's really stark when you leave this group. Like my wife and I were at Chipotle last night, and we had this exact conversation. I'm like, it's amazing how low energy most people are. We were at Chipotle, and I was like watching people in line. It was like, you know, they might as well just been kicking a rock because they were just like moving through and on their phone. And like if somebody had an outside camera looking at my wife and I, we weren't like intentionally trying to do something. We weren't like trying to like turn up the frequency of the light, but it would have been a stark contrast to the people around us. We were laughing and joking and hanging out and talking and talking about ideas and where our kids are going and things like the frequency was significantly higher. I'm not saying Chipotle is like the highest level of competition, but then you go up there to the front to the work and I'm like, how's it going, man? Hey, great. Yeah, I'll take the rice, black meat. Like you can, you know, the energy and the frequency is just, it's stark contrast to most people, but it's because the people I hang out with also bring that kind of energy. And it starts at first thing in the morning. You know, like my kids wake up in the morning, the first thing they're hearing from me is today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be a great day. You know, we're like getting ready for school and we're like talking about how great today's going to be and they're getting their teeth brushed and we're like, well, you know, what are you excited about today? Like we're intentionally cultivating a high frequency from the moment our feet hit the ground in the morning. And the people I work with are doing the same thing and the people I hang out with are doing the same thing. And I've created an environment to where when I leave that environment, it is a stark contrast because I'm in this high voltage, high frequency, like you said, you know, a dystopian hell of mediocrity. That is not my world. My world is high frequency, utopian excitement and energy, and that starts with intentionality in the morning, but then also choosing, you know, the people that I hang out with, the people that I do life with.
Dave, I want to interject one thing before you guys got to go. This is so important. If you're watching this and you're going, man, I want to make new connections. I want to learn search engine optimization. I want to learn branding, marketing, management, sales. How do you make a product? How do you get a product into a store? How do I hire people? How do I do accounting? How do I do financing? We teach all of that. I mean, it is 2 days of intensive training on how to start and grow a successful company. We're following a workbook page by page together at the workshop. We do a very interactive question and answer session every 45 minutes. It really is a blasty blast. Anaheim, California. I've been doing this for 20 years. Go to December. It's December 4th and 5th. I've been doing this for 20 years. We've nailed the format. You're going to love it. December 4th and 5th in Anaheim, California. If you're watching this, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com, thrivetimeshow.com. And I want to share something with you. When COVID happened, so many people in my life wouldn't shake hands because they were afraid about the virus being contagious.
Right.
I feel the same way people felt about COVID, about poverty. Like I'm not, it's contagious and I cannot be around mediocre minds that are going nowhere. So if you're watching this right now and you want to become successful and you're not around people that get it, I understand. So come to the event, December 4th and 5th. I want to meet you. I want to eliminate poverty from your life. I know you can do it. You have the capacity. You have the tenacity. You're going to get it done. Go to thrivetimeshow.com.
I want to say something real fast because on that number 4 point, I just felt like there's somebody that's listening today that you do feel defeated, that you're like, man, I have failed over and over again, and just are you ready to give up? And while you were sharing that number 4 point, it made me think of Sylvester Stallone. You know, that he wrote Rocky in a very short period of time, and then he went and pitched the idea to all of these people, and finally somebody was like, okay, we'll buy it, but you can't be the lead role. And he was like, no. I will not sell this. I will not sell this. And I don't know how many people. Do you guys know how many
he sold his dog, I think, in that window.
I mean,
he bought him back, which is kind of crazy, but he did sell his dog.
You got to sell your dog. It's tough.
He pitched it over and over again, and they didn't even want him to play their lead role. They said, okay, we'll buy it, but you can't be the lead person. He's like, no, I will be the lead person. And then to see where Rocky ended up, I think he got like 3 Academy Awards on it.
One of the least expensive films ever made.
Oh, yeah.
Was, like $100,000 total. Like they're like, fine, we'll give you this like, menial budget. and ended up being, one of the most popular movies of all time.
Oh yeah, and
Rocky 1 especially.
I think it grossed like 117 million or something like that. And so I just want to encourage you, if you're listening here today and you've maybe given up on yourself, read the story about Rocky, about Sylvester Stallone writing Rocky and what that looked like, because it ended up paying big time when he believed in himself and he allowed it to fail until he succeeded. So I just want to encourage someone today, because I know there's somebody out there that feels like, I just can't do it anymore. Go read that story. It's inspiring, and it's obviously very real.
And I was going to add, Clay, about changing the average 5 people. People may be hearing this day and think, man, my family is negative. We're just saying where I work. It is a cesspool of thought. First of all, you can begin changing that by what you're listening to in your car to and from work. Listening to podcasts like this. If you're in a business, listen to the encouragement testimonials that Clay has on his website. It's unbelievable. Sean, I listened to that full interview myself a couple of days ago. He knew within the first 3 hours that he wanted to be working in this environment. Now, I've gone to maybe a dozen of your workshops. I have access to the VIP deal. I've only gone to that one time.
Yeah.
And here's why. Not because I'm against going to the VIP lunch thing. It's the people in the room are all so amazing that I've been in conversations with them, and I enjoy being around all the other participants so much that I don't even care about the Tim Tebow or anybody else so much, because
it's high frequency.
Just being in that room is so good. I want to make one other thing. This became my life. This is one of my older versions. I've made a habit of collecting these. Whenever I see an old bookstore, I go in old bookstores. I love them. I love the smell of old bookstores. This one's from 1958. It's not my oldest one. One year for Christmas, Stacy bought me the first printing of Think and Grow Rich. Was only 5,000 copies. They didn't know it was going to be a big deal. She bought me one of those first 5,000 copies. It's one of my most cherished possessions. This is an older one. So I probably have a couple dozen copies of Think and Grow Rich. I remember at an old bookstore, I buy these old ones. Partly the reason I buy it is because a lot of times they're signed. It's like a gift to somebody. Carl, I hope this means as much to you. And I'm like, how did this end up in the marketplace? How is this not in somebody's great-grandson's home? How is this even available for me to buy? So it's kind of a lesson for me to value and cherish these things. But the subtitle on this version of it says Think and Grow Rich. It's for men and women who resent poverty. For men and women who resent poverty. If you listen to this today and you think we're beating up on poor people or things like this, I'm telling you, poverty is a spirit that you need to reject and bind in your life.
Yep.
Being broke means you currently have no money. Saying I'm poor is coming into agreement with a demonic entity that is not a part of what we're doing. And if you get nothing else from this show, know there is hope. There's people that have broken this off of themselves. Yep. They're standing in the boat, reaching down with a hand to help you into the boat. And if you resent poverty and you want to break that off in your life, changing,
and for your family,
and for multiple generations. I don't know anybody in my genetic, upline, so to speak, or whatever, that ever didn't think about money all the time because of a big struggle. They didn't complain about it all the time. They could never buy 4 car tires at the same time. I had to be the first generation from me down that broke that off, because it is a spirit that you can break off. And you've got people on this screen right now, specifically Clay Clark. You got his book here. You have access to his information. You have access to a workshop that's $250 or whatever you can afford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no reason then if you say no on an offer for somebody that'll lay out a blueprint for you, and you don't even have to go be a client. You can even sign a contract in advance and say, I promise I will not become a client of Clay Clark's, and then go to the event. I could care less. Just get in the room, because it's going to change your life completely. And you've got a phone number on there right now, 918-851-0102. You have access to somebody that's willing to break that off. And if you're not willing to do that, you need to look at this spiritually, because there's something inhibiting you. Because when you've got somebody willing to do it for whatever you can afford, that means it could be $1. Maybe you can say, you know what, I've got a collection of baseball cards. I'll give you whatever. You have something that'll get you in that room. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, you need to look at this from a spiritual perspective, because there's something blocking you in there. Poverty is a spirit. Being broke is a current. It's a spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. You can fix that. You can't fix poverty until you break it off and come into agreement with getting out of it. And Clay's willing to help you do that. So we're so thankful for what you do, Clay.
Hey, thank you, guys. I was already a big fan of your family. I didn't know that you were a collector of old school Think and Grow Rich books.
Yep.
Yeah. And Dave, you know this. For years, I've always given $100. I'll meet people and say, I will pay you $100 to read this book. And I do this all the time, because it changed my life. And so I'm constantly doing that. So I like you guys even more. And I thought I was already a level 10. Now I'm a level 11. Thank you guys so much for carving out time for me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Clay.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
But I recognized at the age of 15, I'm going, you know what? I am not going to live that way. And so I started a company out of my parents' basement called djconnection.com. And I decided I am going to have success. And so I reached out to millionaires and people that I kind of knew through church and friendships and people that parents of my friends. And I said, what book would you recommend that I read? I'm a 15-year-old asking this question. True story. And I kept being told, you got to read.
Hello, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Radio Show. It's an exciting time. Also, I think a treacherous time, a spooky time also. But it's always, danger is a good time. Today, my guest is Clay Clark, and I went out with Tom Wheelwright to visit Clay with Eric Trump also. And the reason I want to talk to Clay this morning is a very important subject called study. And the reason I say that is things are changing so fast, and many people are completely missing the show. Things are changing at rapid speed. Technology is changing. And so I went to Tulsa, again, with Tom Wheelwright and Eric Trump. And the thing I was so impressed about Clay is this word called study. I don't know, you guys must be in your water or something, Clay, but boy, I was so impressed how big you guys are. But what really impressed me was you have this huge congregation. They're all about guys your age. They're on fire. And you start your classes at 5 in the morning. Now, let me talk to you about study here. We show our books here. Now, this is how I study. This is The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's on the Fed. And Clay's doing the same thing. We study. So I go out to Clay's place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's built this huge compound out there. And you guys start at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not by Zoom. They drive there. They show up 5 o'clock, bright-haired, bushy-tailed, and all this. And they're on fire. Your group is on fire. So that's what was on Clay, this technology. You tell your group, I was so impressed. Because, like I said, studies became a bad word. I got into fights in my own company because our staff didn't want to study anymore. And I don't know how they cannot do that. So, Clay, anyway, welcome to the Rich Dad Radio Show. That's what I want to talk to you about, is how do you do it? 5 o'clock in the morning, you have hundreds of people showing up in your huge auditorium on your property to study. Anyway, welcome to the show, Clay, and what turns you on so much? That's what I want to know. Give us a little about your background.
My name is Karime Schofield, and the name of our company is Whistle While You Clean.
I am Sophia Schofield.
We live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we service the tri-state, so Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana.
We were getting a phone call, and we were like, why is someone calling our business line? That's unusual, and we picked it up, and it was a lead.
I mean, it's been incredible, Clay. We've gone from 0 to 100% growth. We're a full functioning company. It's great. We're blown away at how well we're doing. So working with you guys have really taught us a lot about generating leads and pursuing our Dream 100. So we have a list of customers that we want to market to. And so we've been making phone calls, we've been showing up in person. We're trying to get near the businesses that they would visit if they were visiting like a hair salon or something. And then we start calling them and we just start pursuing them. And then the other thing that we do is when we do cleans, we take a lot of video testimonials and we post those to our website so other customers can see. And then we also upload a lot of images of the things that we do. And so we're also asking our clients for Google reviews after we've cleaned their houses. And so it's this constant like cycle of doing those things over and over and over again. I would say if you're on the fence, go to one of Clay's conferences. They are hilarious. They're fun. They're educational. They're so good that even my teenagers like them. And I would say don't let fear hold you back. If you want to start a business, do the obvious thing and hire someone who knows how to run businesses. If I wanted to get in shape, I'd hire a gym person, a personal trainer. This is like the personal training for business. It has been absolutely amazing. I mean, our coach is encouraging. When he first met with us, he said, do we want him to be like a drill sergeant with us? What level of intensity do we want him to give us? And I will say he is incredibly encouraging all the time, and he just hits the same mark with us every single time. It's very repetitive, but I think we both really learn a lot every time we sit down and have a conversation with him over the phone. He keeps pushing us to go further, and he can recognize when we're afraid to do something, and he'll give us a little bit of grace, but that next week he's drilling us again, like pushing us to go harder. Our no-brainer offer is we are offering your first clean for $1. And that sounds absolutely insane. It even sounded insane when I was talking over it with our business coach. And I will tell you that that has generated some of our hugest clients. I mean, that has been like a game changer because it opened up the door to more clients, more recommendations, more leads. And we were surprised how far that dollar clean got us.
How important has it been for you to work out that scripting, even though you offer $1 for the first clean? How important has it been for you to nail that down?
It's been really important because it kind of it hones in so that you're not just all over the place when you're trying to explain what it is that you do. And a lot of times it's like you're a good person offering a good product and you have integrity and you want to communicate that. But when you go to communicate without a script or without practice, it's just like a mess coming out of your mouth, as opposed to having this, honed in practice where you know what you're going to say, you know how you're going to say it, and you can almost expect better results when you do it that way.
Had you ever been an entrepreneur before starting this particular business?
No, never.
Did you ever think about wanting to own your own business someday? Or what was the first time you thought, maybe I would like to open my own business?
Absolutely. I've probably been dreaming about it for about 10 years.
Okay, and let me go to your daughter here. Had you ever thought about wanting to team up and open your own business? Or was that something that you were maybe excited about or not so much?
Well, for me, my parents would always listen to your podcast and business podcast. And as I started listening to them, I started realizing that I wanted to own a business.
It's www.whistlewhileyouclean.com. Honestly, the hardest thing was getting over the fear. It was the fear of the unknown. There was like a cloud of doubt that, you can't do this, you're going to fail. There was a few sleepless nights there when we did pull the trigger and join your team and start the coaching process. Even my husband put a little bit of pressure on me from time to time because it was just absolutely scary to take that jump and actually start a business. Whoa.